Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Thank you and good morning. Thank you for joining us on Morning Spring today on Western Spring Television. It's a pleasure, big one, to be know that you are joining us this morning. Femi Ojo is my name, and this is what we do here at this time. Thank you. Of course, WSTV is the station. Morning Spring is this program. Femi Ojo is my name. Of course, my co-anchor is there. Evening. Good morning.
Good morning, Femi. How are you today?
Very well. Thank you.
Good morning, people. Thank you so much for joining us on another installment of Morning Spring. We are glad to have you on board. My name is Evelyn Ohiola. Thanking you especially and welcoming you to another episode.
Very well. On the program, we look at the headlines. These are stories, just tidbits from major dailies every day in the nation. And of course, at the other side of that, we then get talking about issues, frank conversations about the betterment of this great nation called Nigeria. And that is exactly what we are here for. And 100% that is what we shall do this morning. We take this quick break. When we return, we'll let you in on what the front pages of different papers are for us this morning. It's Morning Spring. Stay with us. All right, we're taking it off this morning from the front page of The Guardian newspaper. Concerns as fuel price hike, weak naira dampen inflation outlook. Again, from The Guardian, concerns as fuel price hike, weak naira dampen inflation outlook. Right, and you can see the figures there and the pictorial representation of that particular headline. Fuel at 950 naira per liter. And you can see the picture of the nation's 1,000 naira note. The fuel nozzle just above that, 32.15% inflation. That's what we have right now, as reported by The Guardian. I can see the picture of, the note being, fading in a manner of speaking, meaning it's been degraded, it's losing its value. Almost half of it is gone. And that speaks to the nature and the true reality of the true value of our currency, especially the ones that we have, the Naira notes, by the way. And here, commuters pay over 50% more for fares with hike in fuel prices. Of course, you see the popular cab there, the buses, only that this one is not yellow, by the way. So I'm not sure it's from Lagos, but it will cost a minimum of 70,000 naira, an equivalent of the monthly minimum wage to fuel an average utility vehicle. And I dare say emphasis on utility vehicle, not SUVs, not the ones you call Porsche cars, just a utility vehicle, 70,000 naira on the average to fill the tank, and that's equivalent of the 70,000 naira, a minimum wage that is yet to even been activated, yet to be activated rather. And then the food prices, that's what concerns many Nigerians. Rice 95,000 naira, beans 200 a bag. I mean, a bag of rice 95, 50 kg bag of rice 95,000 naira, beans 230,000 naira, jam 6,000 naira. Okay, Gary 56,000 naira. That's a bag. Pepper, a basket, a big basket, 100,000 naira, and bread, an average of a long, loaf of bread, 1,800 naira. All right, away from that, fake Maduguri flood victims mar relief operations at IDP camp. Wonders, they say, shall never end. Fake Maduguri flood victims mar relief operations at IDP camps, and it shows maybe dishonesty on one side, then the reality of people on the other hand. Before, Evelyn, I'm not sure people that are comfortable with what they have, yeah, dishonesty on one side, but then anybody will want to just identify for where with where they can have relief. And maybe that's why these persons are thronging those IDP camps, even though they have not been affected by the flood, they are still finding their way to IDP camps and where they will get relief. And it speaks about the reality, the poverty line, the poverty stricken nature of the people of that particular place, not taken away. I repeat, some are just dishonest. These are the issues, because it will be wicked for you to at least have something doing and you can fend for yourself, and you are still struggling with whatever is being shared as relief for those that have been displaced. That would be wickedness. But moving on, OB, MRA laments harassment, erosion of democratic ideals, and outdated tech, human errors expose Nigeria to 586,310 cyber threats in H1, that's the first half of the year, and review inevitable, says Lagos State government. Aspirants kick against 300% hike in model colleges boarding fee. These are the issues. And gunmen kill 5 in fresh attack in Plateau community. Sad. And MPOX, no plan to impose travel restrictions on Africans, 6 US. And Abure's tenure as a Labour Party boss expired in June 2024. INEC insists. And here, the picture just below that is that of the managing director, CEO, Nigerian Education Loan Fund, NEL Fund, Mr. Akindode Sawyer, with other gentlemen and lady there. Bottom strip, Naiti wants fund monitored, tracked as FAC shares 3.4 trillion naira in quarter 2, 2024. The question is, who will do the monitoring? That is the issue. At the local government level, at the state government level, at the federal government level. Now, the institution of the state that has been put in place, at least that we know, is the various assemblies, National Assembly at the federal level, state assemblies at the state level, and then the local councillors at the local government level. Question is, will they do their job? Especially some of them, especially at the local level and the state government, state level, who are merely, with due respect now, most of them are touted to be just appendages of the big man in charge at the state. So will they do that? Naiti will have to find out who will do that for them. That will be all from the front page of The Guardian. Evelyn.
All right, before I move on to the Punch this morning, that particular headline on the front page of The Guardian, review inevitable, says Lagos State government as parents kick against 300% hike in model colleges board and fee. I think is laughable that the government can justify why they had a 300% review increment in the expenses for boarding fees, and this is public, by the way, but they cannot. The federal government could not justify 300% increase in the minimum wage. I feel is laughable and is a shame on the part of the government.
Absolutely.
If what it means now is if parents, let's say the lowest cadre of employee with the local Lagos State government, has 2 or 3 in secondary
and
school.
He or she is earning 70K.
And he or she is earning 70K per month. So, do the calculation, 70 times 3, because 3 months is what you have in a term. And if the 100,000 naira, because I know I heard it was moved from 35,000 to 100,000 naira. Now, if the 100,000 naira is for 3, definitely it's for a term, three months. Yeah. Now for the 3 children, you're talking about 300,000 naira. 70 times 3 is 240,000 naira. It's not even enough to cater for those 3 children, let alone pay other bills like utility bill, transportation, and feeding for the parents. It's a shame and it's
even
laughable.
If it's a child, it doesn't have to be 3 children, just a child.
It's
35, you have to pay 100 now.
Yeah, 100,000.
Man, so what do we? So how about the feeding? How about the stationery? How? It's a lot, really.
It's the fact,
and
that
I agree, it's not justified.
It's the fact that they can justify that. Okay, this is what is obtainable now economically, but you could not justify the 300% increase for the workers because you do not think that that is what is obtainable now with what they buy and the expenses they make on a monthly basis. This is just
on boarding facility.
Exactly.
Just on boarding facility.
Well, we'll move on to the Punch newspaper this morning. Edo governorship poll. Petrol crisis threatens election as APC PDP set for showdown. Was the hashtag rider rather. INEC transporters review election materials, personnel carriage contracts, parties rejig last-minute strategies. I mean, the petrol crisis is taking a toll on the election about to go down in Edo
I'm
State
telling you,
on
I hope we
Saturday.
don't have disruption, especially in the transport arrangement
Mm.
of carrying personnel and materials.
Of course, the transporters will review their prices. If they
Obviously.
had given them a price, if they had given INEC a price before, definitely they will review it upwards, just
Yeah.
like the Lagos State government did with, I'm just saying
I,
that.
I
Because
hope the previous agreement or whatever might have been signed is not casted in stone. Before INEC, we tell them, no, you already signed.
and then they don't go. I mean, it's
That would be a breach of the
a
contract.
breach of what?
But I'm sure INEC cannot afford to even go that route at all, because they have something great at stake.
I'm sure you've not seen.
Because I know people will not listen
You've
to
not
any
even seen
contract situation.
transporters in their real self. Definitely,
Trust me, I've seen them.
they
Even
will
when you
not
are, even as a
convert in this.
commuter, when you are right, they can show you
Exactly.
the S word.
All right, but then let's move on. Tinubu visits Borno, pledges support for flood victims. NLC Abure-led NWC rejects new LP faction. The drama going on in Labour Party at this time. Ogun landlord defiles tenant's 14-year-old daughter. This is sad.
Not again.
And I hope that justice will take its due course. We're not even talking about the physical pains inflicted or the physical injuries inflicted on this 14-year-old girl. We are talking about the emotional trauma she would have to deal with for the rest of our life. This kind of situation or issues mar people's life for life. SIM-NIN linkage, 65 million GSM lines risk disconnection. 65 million GSM lines risk disconnection. So if we are to subtract 65 million lines from what we have, not Nigerians now, because someone might have more than one line.
Yeah.
So,
and some might not have
but
any.
65 million is a lot.
Yeah.
If you ask me. Moving on, 950 naira per liter Dangote petrol may justify more importation. This is coming from the marketers. For the rider, dealers PMS vessels arrives as Ipman, Petron demand transparency in pricing. And I don't think it's too much to ask. Just be transparent. Let's know what we have. Let's know how much we are to buy and how much we are to sell. There's no reason why this should be shrouded in secrecy. And still on the punch, Flood sacked 404 million from Nigerian schools. Others, this is coming from the World Bank, and under 18 candidates, JAM to limit interactions with applicants. All right, that will be all from the front page of the Punch newspaper this morning.
All right, I move to this day newspaper. Tinubu reschedules U.S. trip to visit Maiduguri, pledges help for Borno. Tinubu reschedules U.S. trip to visit Maiduguri and pledges help for Borno. And Riders here says sets up disaster relief fund, 6 private sector support. Shehu Bono wants flood disaster probe. I think many persons will agree with the monarch to say, how did that happen? With that level of devastation and ruins, really. Zulu commences distribution of relief materials to impacted persons, acknowledges donations from Agri Ministry, NEMA, NNPC, and Kanu donates 100 million naira. Ndume, 50 million naira. That's a senator, from Yobe State. And IGP orders reconstruction of damaged police facilities. IGP orders reconstruction of damaged police facilities. All right. And just beside that, you have the picture of, the tagging says Papal Honor for Lady Dogja or Tedala, the Archbishop of Lagos, Archdiocese Grace, Most Reverend Dr. Alfred Adewale Martins, and the recipient of the Papal Honor of Pro Ecclesia et Pontifex, by His Holiness Pope Francis, Dame Christine Doja Tedala, during the investiture of Papa Nine medalist on her at the Holy Cross Cathedral in Lagos. Congratulations to the dame herself. And moving on, a suspect in Trump's assassination attempt charged waited for ex-president for 12 hours. You know what to say, especially here in Nigeria. You might not know who is trailing you. And you just have to be careful. And that's the second attempt on Donald J. Trump, and the questions are rising. Why? Why is this happening? And oil marketers, it makes no sense for NNPC to sell locally sourced petrol higher than imported fuel. The drama is possibly we're about to enter another season, of this particular series. It's a lot. And Nigerians are not even having it. More like, you're stressing us. I think that's the average concern of many Nigerians. We just have to have this. But then it's important to note that all marketers are talking and they're saying it makes no sense for NNPC to sell locally sourced petrol higher than imported fuel. And a rider to that says National Oil Firm makes adjustment to breakdown of prices from Dangote Refinery. All right, we'll speak to that in the course of the program. And moderation, the top strip now, moderation in food prices eases inflation to 32.15%, 32.15%, and severe in Bauchi, Kebbi, Jigawa, and others, talking about food prices in some of those states. And WTO chief Okonjo-Iweala seeks second term to complete, in parentheses now, unfinished business. We wish the madam, all the best. That'll be all from this day newspaper.
All right, let's get on to Vanguard newspaper this morning. Dangote Petrol, Nigerians to pay 950 naira per litre. This is credited to NNPCL with riders. Pump price now, Lagos 950, Abuja 992, Borno 1019 naira. NNPC completes lifting 16.5 million litres. And also, we have not taken delivery of refineries petrol depot owners. And consumers should expect 1,200 naira per litre. This is credited to marketers. And sector requires increased transparency. DAPMAN say. And moving on, still on Vanguard newspaper this morning. Okonjo-Iweala to seek second term as WTODG. I hope she gets in, but then this is left not in our hands right now. Yeah.
Stakeholders.
Exactly. And top strip, Vanguard newspaper this morning. Food prices, others ease pressure on August inflation rate of 32.15%. We learned that the inflation rate dropped by about 1 point something percent, and it was 33%, in July. And in August, we heard that there was ease on the inflation rate in Nigeria. It has dropped to 32.15%. 75 die in Kaduna accident, Zamfara boat mishap. Flooding, Tinubu announces disaster relief fund. And still on the Vanguard newspaper, Edo Malud, fix Nigeria before it is too late. Han tells leader. And on the sports corner on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, sports minister commend young talents at National Youth Games. It's not just about commendation. Are you going to provide them with the necessary infrastructure, equipment, and facilities that they need to train with to be able to compete with their world counterparts? That's the most important thing. It's not just about talk, show walk-ins, and that's this young, athletes or young sports. Why you love? Let them be able to be the best in whatever it is.
Grooming.
Exactly.
Not just the identification.
And lastly, Mr. and Mrs. Well, it seems this conversation is between two misters. As a landlord, I know what I am saying. Look for accommodation elsewhere. Any family that occupies that flat will have octuplets. 6 families have experienced it so far. But if you insist with your 4 children, no problem. I mean, this is a good landlord telling you,
Octuplet.
yeah, that should
Eight,
be 8,
eight
yeah,
babies plus 4.
12.
Uh-huh.
Can start a team,
That's a
football team
football team
with
with a
that.
reserve, by
But
the way.
that's all from Vanguard newspaper
And in
this
fact, many
morning.
persons, if actually is reality, I know that's just for jokes, will be
Mm,
asking for the address of that particular
mm.
house, especially for those that need babies in such high numbers. That's a good one, by the way. Trust us to stay on matters that are really important here at Western Spring Television, especially on the stable and having this program, Morning Spring, speaking to issues, especially pressing ones. And that's why we are going to be talking about the NNPCL, Dangote Refinery, the rollout of the PMS, actually, and the pricing situation that we are having right now, because nobody is even sure, the NNPs insisted the boat is at 898, from the Dangote refinery. Dangote refinery came with a denial and said that's not true. But people are asking, so if that's not true, what figure is correct? What's the right figure? We are yet to have an explanation of that. The released a statement from the NNPCL, statement from Dangote refinery. So, we'll be probing that in the course of the program. But Nigerians just want to know, when are we going to have this product? When is it going to be available? When is it going to be accessible? And there are concerns. We've read it out in different papers this morning that, marketers, local marketers are saying, how come this is appearing higher? The figure quoted by the NNPCL, how will it be higher? The imported ones appear cheaper. And, the dynamics, it seems the more you look, the less you see. But it should not be about that. Speaking with critical stakeholders on this matter here and now. Stay with us.